It was. It must be something to do with I've got a little bit of Lebanese blood in me, so it was. And they say the Lebanese are good traders. So the professors on the training course, their recommendation was that I would make a good trader because they seemed to think that I had good instincts. And I had worked hard enough that the bank actually turned around to me and said, "Look, we're going to give you the option. You get to choose what you want to do because you've done well enough that you get to choose what job you want to take after you finish the training program." And I asked my mentor at the time, and I said, "What's cool? What's happening in the bank?" I probably didn't say it in those terms, but and he said to me, "Sales and trading is the new thing." So I said, "Okay, I want to do sales and trading." And then they said, "Okay, we're gonna start you off trading." And trading floating rate notes. And I was trading FRNs at a time when the PC hadn't even, I don't know whether it'd been invented, but we suddenly didn't have PCs. I think I got my first PC in 1985. So at the time, we would get print-offs of all of our positions overnight, and we'd sit with this big piece of paper and a calculator, on our desks, and that's how we would make prices, and it was a head-to-head market. It was a very competitive, very aggressive marketplace where you had an obligation as a market maker to make a price to another bank, and the trader at the other bank, all he was trying to do was make money out of you. So it was fun. It was competitive. You really lived by your wits. I have a good memory, so not as good as I had before, but I was able then to keep the prices of 200 bonds in my head all the time. And so you'd have a whole bunch of salespeople, asking you for prices. And I was able to spit these prices out at them and stay in touch with what was going on in the marketplace as well. So it was a lot of fun. And I really enjoyed it. I was terrified. I mean, the first days you go onto this trading floor, and it was, in the scheme of things, it was a small trading floor. There were only probably 40 people on this trading floor. And I remember the phone went one time, and, I picked up the phone, and as you do, I said, good morning, JP Morgan, or the other way around, whichever way you're meant to do it. And how can I help you? And they asked to speak to one of the salespeople who was sitting all the way at the other end of the trading floor. So I put the phone down and sort of walked across and tapped the person on the shoulder and said, "Excuse me, there's a phone call for you on line this." And within about probably a day, I was yelling down the floor at them. I mean, that's you pick up that culture pretty quickly. So it's the trading floors are a lot of fun. There's a huge amount of energy, lots of super smart people, and you're exposed to everything that's in a sense everything that's going on in the world. So they're very exciting places to be. So, when I first went to Eastern Europe, I had to take a translator. So because in those days, not that many people in Eastern Europe spoke English. In Russia, it was almost essential. In Poland, it was essential. In Hungary, it was so. I got used to speaking through translators. I had done a little bit of that in Japan anyway, because back in 1989, when I was in Tokyo, not that many people relatively spoke English. And so you use translators. But, I think one of the things that I'm probably more sensitive to are foreign cultures, just because I have a mixed cultural background and I've lived in so many different places. And so I think I've become more adept at responding and reacting to different cultures and around the world, and it's something I enjoy and I find fascinating, how people do things in different places. And so that cultural experience was again, it wasn't challenging. It was fascinating. It was great fun, and learning how to deal with people in different situations and different cultures. That was excellent. How do you do business in Eastern Europe? So Eastern Europe is a big place. And Eastern Europe in those days included Russia, included Turkey, and included what were called at the time the Visegrad countries, Czech, Slovakia, Poland, and Hungary. And I think there you've got three different types. Czech, Poland, Hungary, and Slovakia are they're closer to a European culture. So things that we would, I mean, they were, the Austro-Hungarian Empire was at the heart of Europe for so long, and I mean, it was. They would say they're more European than the UK, and so these are countries that are essentially European and reasonably familiar to us. Turkey is, I'd say, more similar to the Middle East, and there I'd spent a lot of time. I spent a lot of time in the Middle East as a child, and so I was reasonably comfortable doing business in Turkey. It's more of a haggling style of business. It's a relationship style of business. I think where personal relationships are so much more important. I think in the Europe, it's not to say personal relationships aren't important in Europe, but I'd say in Eastern Europe it was more about business than about personal relationships. And then Russia is a completely different kettle of fish. Russia is a European country, and it's also an Asian country. But I would say it's more of an Asian country than a European country. And I think Russia is very, very different, and it has a very strong cultural history and heritage, but it's also got this very harsh environment, climatic environment, and it's obviously been through a very, very tough time. And so doing business in Russia is a little bit tougher, than doing business in other parts of the world. It's still relationship driven. Who is super important, but it's the way of doing business in Russia I'd say, is alien from the way that we do business in a more Anglo-Saxon context, particularly when it comes to negotiating business deals. So I'll give you an